everyone, it's the long weekend edition of News Generation. Hasn't it been lovely? As always, my name is Ifwa Akwa Harrison. Coming up, second National Sanitation Day held in the country. How are young people involved? We found out. A very popular tradition is around the corner. Which one? Christmas, of course. So Adelaide had a chat with some young people about our own cultural traditions. And we have a very special guest in studio. He also brought something very exciting to show us. So stay tuned for this and a whole lot more on the show today.
Supported by Cowbell with Vitarid.
So we are on social media, facebook.com/newsgenerationgh or on Twitter @newsgengh. Now, the second National Sanitation Day came off with the support of corporate institutions and music group VVIP. But what about the young ones?
A number of organizations and personalities showed support for the National Sanitation Day concept.
We said, wow, it's a beautiful thing. We need to jump on it. So we call on him and he received us in a very beautiful way. And we are so happy to be part of this because this is very important to us. We have to keep our fans healthy so they can support us. That's it.
But organizers forgot the young ones the first time round.
The previous one that we didn't involve the Ghana Education Service. But following the first one, then we had correspondence and requests, even from parents, that saying if this campaign will be successful, we need to inculcate the habit of keeping our environment clean in our children right from school. And so our thinking is that if it becomes mandatory for students and their teachers, let's say 3 hours out of the whole month to come to the school compound and lend a hand, to tidy up the place, we believe that attitude will help inculcate the spirit of cleanliness in the children.
With Ghana ranked amongst Africa's 10 least sanitary countries, it is important to have young people join the Sanitation Day exercises. If you were not a part of the ones gone by, you can plan ways to contribute to the upcoming ones.
And let us know what you think about the National Sanitation Day program on our Facebook wall. Female genital mutilation, trokosi, naming ceremonies, death ceremonies, marriage, widowhood rites, and puberty rites. These are all forms of Ghanaian traditions performed among the various ethnic groups in the country. Some people think some of these traditions should be changed or even abolished. While Adelaide had a discussion with some students from Little Saints Preparatory School on the importance of Ghanaian traditions.
In 3 weeks' time, people all over the world will be celebrating an important tradition, Christmas. Christians and non-Christians also observe this tradition. In Ghana, we have our own traditions. Today, I am joined by some students from the Little Saints Preparatory School here in Accra, and we're going to elaborate on some of our traditions here in Ghana. What are some of the Ghanaian traditions you remember or you know of?
The female genital mutilation.
I know of the female genital mutilation and the depot rights.
The trokosi system.
Okay. We have the marriage rights, we have the widowhood rights, we have funerals, we have naming ceremonies. What do you think about all these traditions? Do you think they are really worth celebrated or observed?
I would like for us to rather copy the Europeans a little bit, because when someone dies, they often call a small group of people to come and mourn the death of that person.
About the death rights, in our society, we celebrate funerals to show the last respect to the dead. And if he's saying that we should copy the Europeans a little bit, I don't agree with him. Because there is something that says, be who you are. Even though we show our last respect by celebrating funerals, people use that opportunity to get more money.
Do you think it is right for us to abolish the bride price or the wedding and then the engagement? Should we stop the engagement at all and then just go ahead with the wedding so that people won't spend a lot of money during all these things?
I disagree with that because the girl is being taken from her parents' home to go to the man's home. So she should be bought at a price so that the man will value her.
I also disagree with it because we Ghanaians, our cultures are different from those of the foreign countries. And bride price, like if you're paying bride price, it's like you buying the woman. And it shows like, it also like protects the dignity of the woman because you bought her with a price.
Is it a good thing that our parents or adults are putting in we the young ones that we can't question our adults?
I would say yes.
Why?
Because if we are always to like stand up to our parents' decision, we will end up not being disciplined and also be disrespectful to their elders.
In the foreign countries, like children are, I don't know how to say it, they are disciplined, but they are opening up to their parents. I can't say yes and I can't say no because if our parents, it depends on the situation. Maybe I'm a bad girl, then my parents are trying to caution me. That one I'll agree with you. But let's say if my parents are rather bringing the bad things to me or they are trying to inculcate bad behaviors to me, that one too is a question mark.
They are far more experienced than us, and everything they say, there is reason inside, like it's reasonable.
So what role does our traditions play in national development? Do they really play any role in our national development?
Let's say the depot right, it reduces teenage pregnancy, and teenage pregnancy causes a lot of death, which does not help in the development of the country.
It brings up girls more, I don't know how to say it. You see, when a girl maintains her virginity, like everywhere she goes, she's proud of who she is. So it brings up like good women to cater for the children, the next generation in the country.
It helps us to identify our backgrounds, where we are from, and how like our generations will be, to train our children on how to behave like as such, or how to behave as our grandparents or and ancestors behave.
Do you think we should maintain the old style of our traditions, or we should modify them a little bit?
In my opinion, some should be modified, like the festivals, but in the female genital mutilation, I feel that like it should be abolished, and also cruel widowhood rights. That one should be abolished.
I think the female genital mutilation, they should modernize it. You see how the men, they circumcise them in the hospital. If they modernize it by also sending to the hospital so that they can also do it for them at the hospital, that one to improve the rate at which people die from those cultural practices.
I also think the depot right should be modified because showing the nudity of the girls is not the right thing to do. The sheer sight of the girls naked by some evil men can cause them to go and do evil things like raping them, which will cause a lot of harm to the girl child.
All right, that's nice, brilliant, excellent. Thank you. And people out there or our friends at home, you can also join our discussion on our traditions, like the Ghanaian traditions, the ones you think we should modify, the ones you think we should abolish. You can go to our Facebook page. It's facebook.com/newsgenerationgh.com. You can also send us a message on our Twitter page. It's @newsgengh. Time to see what else is making the local news rounds.
More than 3,000 children aged between 8 and 14 in the Setre Afram Plains district of the Ashanti region are out of school. This makes the district the highest with school dropout rates in the region, a situation authorities admit is worrying. The number forms part of a nationwide figure of 79,117 out-of-school children. Unavailable or poor school infrastructure in some parts of the region is some of the factors that keep children out of school. In the Setre Afram Plains district, children have to walk between 10 to 18 kilometers to and from schools outside their own communities. Young people in the Brong-Ahafo region have been advised to channel their exuberance towards productive ventures such as farming. This, according to the director of Gethsemane Rehabilitation Center in German South District, Prophet Daniel Ansu, will prevent them from indulging in illicit activities such as drug abuse and armed robbery. Prophet Daniel, who has been engaging in several agricultural activities including fish farming, beekeeping, snail rearing, cultivation of coconut, rice and cashew among others, said it is important for the youth to keep themselves busy in order to avoid being used by the devil.
So, government is considering the sale of the Electricity Corporation of Ghana to a private company. According to reports, the planned privatization of ECG will be fully implemented in 2015. This is a recommendation by the International Monetary Fund as part of its bailout program for Ghana next year. But many say they cannot pay the cost of electricity if the power distribution company is to be managed by a private entity. So what do young people think about this planned move by government?
I think national electricity should be privatized because there are some organizations and individuals that can afford machines that can be able to use to generate electricity.
No, I think it shouldn't be privatized, but rather we should establish more companies to provide electricity and not to be over dependent on ECG, and also provide alternative ways of using electricity so that the resources will not be overused.
I think it shouldn't be privatized, but rather the government must encourage people, other companies to join the ECG so that they'll also bring out policies that could help in the generating of ECG. Because when it's privatized, the sole aim of private institution is to make profits, and if the profits comes, it goes to them alone. But if the government partners with them, at least the government also will get some profits that will help in the development of other sectors.
I don't think it should be privatized because the sole aim of private enterprise is to maximize profits. Therefore, if the national electricity is privatized, then I think the ordinary Ghanaians will not be able to pay for it.
The government should not privatize the ECG, but rather more companies should be established so that other forms or ways of providing electricity like the solar energy, biogas and other forms should be used. And even if Ghana should sell the ECG to a private institution, it shouldn't be sole proprietorship. It should be partner, so that any profit that is made, the government shall be able to reap from it.
I think the ECD should be sold so that the government will get time to focus on other sectors. We should not depend on the ECD.
Your views on WhatsApp. Now, at the beginning of the show, I told you I'd be having a very special guest in studio. I actually have two, and they are joining me here right now. 17-year-old Brian Fletcher and 20-year-old William Aka, or Yaka, right? Okay, welcome to News Generation. Okay, now tell us briefly in 1 second something about yourselves. Let's start with you, William.
My name is William Yaka, and I recently completed St. Thomas Aquinas High School. I did science, and yeah.
And you, Brian?
My name is Brian Fletcher. I'm a student who wants to make a great impact to this world, and I'm a son of Mr. Paul Fletcher and Mrs. Angela Fletcher. Okay,
now speaking about making an impact, you guys brought in something into the studio. What is this setup all about?
We call it a wood ash generator. Basically, it's our own invention, a small device which recycles waste wood ash into electricity for our communities.
Waste, so when you say wood ash, this is the after product of firewood?
Yes, please.
Okay, so what does this do?
So basically, we were focusing on how to help our smaller communities, especially those in the rural areas who don't have access to electricity, to be able to get something to read with at night, especially with the students who want to study. So we started researching further to find out how best we can use the common waste wood substances there to produce something or generate electricity for them to use. So upon further research, we landed on wood ash.
Just demonstrate for us. Let's see this. Okay, so I can see this is the wood ash.
Yes.
This is so interesting. And then you had to mix it with.
So we add water to the wood ash, and from our fresh knowledge on electrochemistry, we added 2 different metals, preferably copper and zinc. We just added water to it, connected it to voltmeters, and we're able to produce a 1.2 volts from one cell, which we're able to connect in series to gather more voltage to power our lamps and to charge mobile phones.
I don't understand. How does wood ash generate electricity?
Okay, so we found out that the hydrolysis of wood ash produces an electrolyte. And that electrolyte, with the 2 electrodes of different potentials, found that one could lose electricity to the other. So basically the electricity was being produced. But then we saw that with just one cell we could connect more in series. So if one is producing 1.2, we added 2 to get 2.4, added 3, then multiples of that to finally get something to power the lamp.
So for instance, if you want to power something or an appliance that requires like 20 volts, then you connect about 16 or 15 in series and you get that amount of voltage to power whenever you want. So if you want to charge a mobile phone, you want to power a small lamp like this, which takes about 4.5 volts, then you just need about 3 of this in portable sizes connected together in series, and you have your lamp to steady at night.
Do you guys understand all this? Because I'm definitely looking forward to getting to know them better later episodes to really get the background of everything that's going on. Okay, so how does this whole thing work?
So as we said, we connect several cells in a series which each produces 1.2 volts. So with this one we connected about 3 in series. Since we want to power this small lamp, which just takes 4.5 volts, so we connected our wires to the ends of the terminals and we put it into our main sockets here.
Can I press the button?
Sure. So then put it on. Okay. Yeah.
Oh my gosh! This is amazing.
So we have this small lamp being powered by wood ash, purely wood ash, and just water with 2 metals.
This is really, really amazing.
You know, basically with students, it is getting light to study and powering a mobile phone to do research. So with these 2 things in the rural areas, we hope to solve the problem of an unreliable electricity where students don't have access to electricity to study at night and also charge their mobile phones to do research. So this basically helps to solve that problem.
Now guys, this invention won you an award.
Yes, please.
What's that?
We won Best Project at the National Science and Technology Fair.
Wow. And how do you guys feel?
Amazing, great. Feel good for doing something to solve a problem in the community.
And this was 2013?
Yes.
So what's in the pipeline for 2014 and 2015 actually?
Okay, we are trying to work on this to produce more voltage in a more portable form, so that it will be compressed into an AA battery which can produce that much voltage. And in the same way, we hope to be representing our country in more competitions outside the country.
All right, so thank you, Brian and William, for joining us on News Generation. We will definitely catch up with you guys on other episodes. They are so interesting with this their invention, but it's time now for a little break. We have more interesting stories after this. And you're still watching News Generation. Remember, we're on facebook.com/newsgenerationgh or on Twitter @newsgengh. Now, Max Voy is only 12 years old, but he's pretty handy with the saxophone. Do you know what that is? Well, let's meet our next Monarch Band member.
My name is Max Voy, and I'm 12 years of age. I play 3 instruments: the percussion, the bass guitar, and the saxophone.
How did you learn all these instruments?
It took me time, but I struggled and learned. I started learning the keyboard first, but later I went to play the drums, and later I went to lead guitar, and I came to the bass guitar. That was when I was in class 3, and I played the bass guitar till class 6 before I went to the percussion. Before recently in Form 1, I came to the saxophone.
Is it hard to play the saxophone? What makes it hard?
Because of the lot of keys.
Lot of keys. So how does an instrument like the saxophone work?
The keys, this is do.
Okay.
And this is re. That is in key D sharp. And key F, this is do. This is re. And in key G, this is do. This.
So how do you determine that this is key G or this is key F, or how do you determine the keys?
When you play it with the instrument, you find that if they are playing key G and you play this, you find out that it's the same. And my teacher used to be writing it according to these things. So he makes it with blue pen. That if this key F, he draws 6 circles and paint the ones I must press.
How's it like being in a band?
It's cool, but we argue a lot. About notes. That who knows this note, who knows this note. Then we all bring in different ideas. And above all, we all settle on one beat.
How did you feel participating in the Talented Kids competition?
It's cool because we go for excursions. You are allowed to express yourself, and they don't do things for you to like be afraid of being on a camera. I joined the Monarch Band when I was in class 1.
Class 1. So you're one of the oldest members of the team, or are you the oldest?
No, I'm one of them.
You're one of them. Apart from Talented Kids, where else do you play? Or where else have you played over the years?
We've played at funerals, weddings, and engagements. We've played at the Live Boy Company before. We've played at Emilio program. We've played for Ethel before. I want to be a pastor.
You want to be a pastor? Why?
Because I love the word of God.
What are your hobbies?
My
hobbies?
Dancing salsa.
Dancing salsa? Hey! Come and dance for us. Dancing salsa and what else?
And I play football and tennis ball.
And tennis ball. Note, we wrap up News Generation this edition. Remember to check us out on facebook.com/newsgenerationgh or on Twitter @newsgengh. Enjoy the rest of the weekend, and please don't forget to tell us what your plans are for the Christmas holidays, all on our social media platforms. Bye.
Supported by Cowbell with Vitarid.